everyone. Welcome to the HT Podcast Show. Today I have myself, Jun Kian, Jun Vian, and we have Nikki with us today. Used to be in Thiếu Nhi, and she is a very special guest. She is the owner of Toast Me, and they have 4-star stores in Washington.
5 stars.
5-star review, 4 stores
There you go.
in Washington. Don't cut that out, okay? Before we start, let's just...
And our sponsor today is Toast Me, of course.
Toast Me?
Cheers.
Cheers. 1, 2, 3. Nice. So let me ask you, have you ever done the blind boba challenge where you close your eyes and pop it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, should have done
but
that.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
For our next guest that owns the store,
I'll
right?
sponsor.
There you go. Thank you.
Sponsor. And I really appreciate Nikki because she got me, I wanted a healthy drink, so she got me a healthier drink today. And, I'm very picky about my drink. So what kind of drink this is? It tastes really healthy.
That one is matcha mango. So you can adjust the sweetness. Yours, we didn't do any sweetener in there.
Gotcha. Perfect. And I love matcha because matcha is a type of caffeine that is not like coffee caffeine. It doesn't go up or down. So I love the matcha healthiness factor of it. What'd you get?
I just tasted this and actually surprisingly, I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah, this one is tar Oreo. So it tastes
there
like
you go.
cookies and cream.
Yeah. Nice. And what did you get?
This one is just a kumquat with green tea. Yeah.
Nice. And she was
something
nice.
fruity and refreshing.
And Nikki was nice enough to get our editor some of the background. Our editor can add in the slurping noises to show that he's also here too. So you were in Thiếu Nhi. You left a little bit early, but do you remember like any good memories about Thiếu Nhi before you left?
That was my childhood. But before I start, I just want to say thank you for having me here today. And I'm a fan of your show.
Nice. We got somebody.
One fan.
I watched every single episode, and I appreciate you guys do this for the younger Hunjung, like giving a lot of good information for them. Something I didn't really have growing up. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So I joined Thiếu Nhi when I was, I think in 6th grade as a Thiếu Nhi, and I was there until I left when I started college. And like I said, it was my childhood. I learned a lot. I met a lot of amazing people, including Vian.
Did your time in Thiếu Nhi kind of help with Toast Me in any way, like opening a business?
Yeah, I think it helped to shape me into the person I am today. Growing up, I was always like that shy kid. I didn't have many friends at school. But I was able to make friends at Thiếu Nhi. And it kind of became like a second family to me. Definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone because a lot of the things we do is like involving like in group activities or like doing things in front of a lot of people. So definitely helped to build my confidence.
But the funny thing is, I actually remember Nikki and her sister from elementary school. Because when they first came to America, they went to the same elementary school as me. And I think I remember doing some translations for you guys. That was
It's full circle now.
Yeah.
I love it.
I've known Vian for a very long time.
Yeah, surprisingly. Yeah, actually.
So it's a second family. Why did you leave then?
Life just kind of happened. I moved to Seattle for school, and it was just really hard to go back and forth. And I just didn't think that I could contribute a lot during that time. So,
if I remember correctly, you said you were up to Yuzhong, right? So for those who don't know, a long time ago in Thiếu Nhi, we used to have these a level called Yuzhong. Basically, people who were trained to become Hunjungs, they wore a pink scarf. After a while, eventually they got rid of that in mid 2010s or so. They got rid of that.
Wait, earlier. Sorry. The pink scarf.
So even earlier, sorry. Before 2010, sorry. Because I never got the pink scarf, unfortunately. I went from USA to Hipsi to Hunjung.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of people leave Thiếu Nhi too, because they either go to college or something like that. And sometimes the college might be completely far away from their duan, right? So it makes complete sense that would happen.
I kind of want to add to that. I think because when I was wearing that pink scarf, there wasn't like a clear direction of where to go. Like I wasn't ready to be a Hunjung because I was still too young for that. And, so that's kind of why I didn't have a direction. So
I think that's the one thing. Thiếu Nhi has evolved over since then. We definitely have more, a little better direction per se with that. So I'm glad that we're now able to have a specific class for like Hipsi Tung Tan or for them to become Hunjung, and which we of course, didn't have it back then.
And you should have done something. We lost a great
unfortunately.
link to him here.
No, it's okay. She'll send her kids when the kids
Yeah,
are
no,
older.
I'll come back as a
Yeah,
parent.
there you go. That's all. We always need support from the
Yeah,
parents.
we always need that. So,
Yeah.
so you went to college. What did you major in then?
I study business. I specialize in marketing.
Oh, okay. So perfect for the business mindset then.
Yeah.
Did you have you always worked in some sort of like restaurant business or
No, growing up, I didn't think that I was gonna do F&B. I thought I was gonna work for a big corporation and kind of move up the ladder. It wasn't until I moved to California for the job and started like eating out a lot, going to all different types of bubble tea shops and eating banh mi's and stuff that kind of like started that idea.
when you said job down there, what kind of job was it?
I was doing digital marketing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice.
So it had nothing to do with,
Gotcha.
what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But marketing is very important, especially in the restaurant business
Yeah,
too. So.
especially nowadays. You need marketing. Yeah.
Was that in Southern California where all the Asian food was?
Yes,
yeah,
it was,
Is that
yeah.
why? Did you have a favorite restaurant down there?
I think I went to this banh mi place a lot. It's called what is it? Banh mi Jay Kelly. So they have banh mi Jay, and then they had like milk tea and different types of drinks there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it was very cheap. Is it more expensive to eat down there?
Oh
back
no,
then?
it's super cheap. Like it's like buy one get one free every day.
Wow.
So you can almost not cook if you need to.
Yeah. So a lot of people eat out down there.
So it kind of helped you figure out like exactly what kind of flavors you like for banh mi and what's good and what's bad and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this is like right out of college. I didn't really know I was gonna have a business back then yet, but I just know that I enjoy like eating banh mi's and I enjoy going to those type of shop and kind of watch and observe what they're doing. Yeah.
So then after that, where did you go after California?
I moved back here because I thought I was ready to kind of start my own business. I wasn't.
You were like what, early 20s, mid 20s by then?
Yeah, this is when I was 22, 23.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's pretty young
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Think
so
about starting a
Right.
business.
Right?
Yeah, I finished college when I was 21, and then I was in California for 2 years.
Okay.
Moved back here. I actually wanted to open a bubble tea shop, but I had no experience. So that didn't happen, but I ended up working at a bubble tea shop as a manager. So that gave me a lot of experience, like how to manage people, how to make drinks, how to run a store. And then I was there for about 6 months.
Was it difficult managing teenagers? I assume that teenagers.
Yeah.
Yes, very, because I was still so young. So
Yeah.
they were like maybe 4 or 5 years younger than I was. But because of that experience, I realized I wasn't ready.
We have a lot of Huichungs too. First come up and they teach not UXC anymore, but Hip C now. And the Huichungs are very young and they're like 4 or 5 years apart from the Hip C. Do
Yeah.
you have any thoughts on like how do you manage that kind of young people without saying, come on, man, grow up? you know?
Yeah, when you're still a kid yourself too, right?
yeah.
I actually deal with that. I have a lot of employees now that are still in school and needs guidance. And you just gotta remind yourself to be patient.
Both in high school and college, or?
Yeah, so we have employees as young as 16-year-olds.
Okay.
So they're like doing running start.
Right.
And then we have college students too.
Yeah, I believe you hire some Thiếu Nhi members
Yes,
too.
you have.
I did,
Yes,
yes.
you did.
You do not only just sponsor us, but you sponsor Thiếu Nhi in different ways.
Yeah, if they put Thiếu Nhi on their resume, that's like an automatic hire.
You hear that, guys?
Joking.
See, it's who you know.
It's who you know. That's how you get in. So after going over here, and did you work like how many years or months at this?
Like after
bubble tea?
it was only 6 months.
Okay.
And then I realized I wasn't ready for my own business. And I started to think, okay, what else did I want to do growing up that I can do now? Like now is a perfect time to do it.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
no
do it.
kids,
Early
no
20s.
obligations, no mortgage, no debt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I moved to Vietnam.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah.
Moved to
That's
Vietnam.
crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people thought I was crazy, but it's just something I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was there for about 2 years. Yeah.
Was your parents supportive of this move?
No, of course, they were worried
Yeah.
because I have my distant relatives there, but I didn't really know anyone there. So they were definitely worried, but they know my personality. Like when I want to do something, I'm just going to do it.
Nice.
So
So then when you were in Vietnam, you tried to pursue a little bit more of that, get to know more knowledge in that restaurant business?
not subconsciously. I still like eating out a lot. I got to travel a lot to different regions of Vietnam and try out like different types of food, specifically banh mi's. And I think all of that experiences kind of come together and help me like come up with Toast Me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you remember arriving in Vietnam for the first time? Like, was it nerve-wracking? Because this is a completely new place.
Yeah, very different than here. It's just very crowded. But people are very friendly, easy to make friends. And, I felt safe when I was there.
Nice. Yeah. When I was in Vietnam, I was a lot younger. So I always have this very view of like, oh, this is like, I would never go back. Right? Like, I remember the bad things and living like on a farm and everything.
Well, like 30 years ago, it was a little different then.
Yeah.
So back then, was it completely different back then too? Like, was it more
I think
modern?
when I went back for the first time with my sister and another friend, I was still in college. And, we didn't really know what to expect. I just remember that like, oh, wow, this is so different. It's so exciting. Like, there's people out and about all the time. And it's so much like, it's so alive. And I remember thinking like, okay, when I'm done with school, I would want to try and live here for a little while. And so I did that.
Yeah, I see a lot of American people on YouTube. They go back to Vietnam, they live there, they have all these vlogs. And it looks so amazing. It's kind of like living the dream, be over there, eating good food, meeting the locals.
People are very happy there. They don't have much, but they're very happy.
Jeez. And you must have ate, like Bian mentioned, you must ate amazing, even better than California.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my
Luckily, I'm actually going to Vietnam. I just booked my ticket to Vietnam later this year.
Okay.
So I can't wait. I'm excited. It's been
Is
a while.
that your first?
No, it's been my third time, but it's been like 10 years since I've been.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Well, you need to. I never been back since I was born there, but I never been back. So
Yeah.
definitely need to get pointers from you guys. So so why did you decide to come back to America? Because I bet you were having a good time, like learning
I
a
did.
lot.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I met a lot of people. But I'm the type of person that kind of have like a timeline for everything. So I felt like 2 years in Vietnam was enough, and it's time to move on to the next part.
Oh, that's so smart. Because some people would just stay stagnant the whole time and be like, they could potentially live there forever.
Yeah.
And just let the wind just push them wherever it may, right? Have no specific plan.
Yeah,
So
I need like challenges. I need new things all the time. So I decided to come back, and then I had an opportunity to purchase or take over a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how all this like journey into this food industry started. Yeah.
That's a big deal. Just have coming back. How you remember how old you were?
I was I think I was like 24-ish,
Wow.
24-ish.
Very
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, that was the restaurant in Federal Way, right? A Vietnamese restaurant?
A full service Vietnamese restaurant.
It was a
Yeah.
huge restaurant too.
Yeah. It was like 4,000 square feet. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I'm the kind of person that like, if it sounds good to me, if it feels right in that moment, I'm going to do it.
Did you have a partner with you of like working with you at that time for that one?
I didn't.
So by
But
yourself?
I had a lot of help from my family.
Okay.
Yeah. So, including Kian. He was my first dishwasher.
Yeah. Well, we had a machine, right?
Yeah,
A
you
machine,
still have to load it in.
Someone needed to lower it in.
Were you already a pharmacist by then?
Yes, I was a pharmacist.
Part-time dishwasher?
Part-time,
Yeah, but so I got free food, and the food was really, really good, really good.
Thank you.
So that's why I'm like, man, this is really good food. But this restaurant was so huge. Oh, excuse me, I got a little bubble head there. So good, I was spit it out. This is why we don't have food in the show. So, but I was like, this restaurant is so huge. How did you deal with that? Because the food was amazing, but it's like to pay for this restaurant, I can't imagine it's cheap. You know?
Yeah. Again, I had help from family, including you, right? I didn't have to pay you.
Wow.
Pay
Pay you in food. But, it was like a learning experience for me. I didn't know anything going into it, but I spent a lot of time like researching how to run a business. I had to do a lot of things myself, like payroll. I had to learn how to do that because it costs money to hire someone to do that. Or like scheduling people and, all of that. I had to learn so that I don't have to pay people to do it for me.
Yeah. And as I was watching Nikki I was in the back watching this, I was watching her, everything new that came about. I was like, oh my gosh, she does not shy away from it. Right? Because that's the thing that you have to do. Because once you shy away from it, like, oh, I don't want to advertise. Oh, I don't want to do this. Your business will not be sustainable, will not thrive. Because and Nikki will say this, it's like the restaurant business is one of the toughest business. Like I think the highest fail rate. Like people think that if you have amazing food like she did, that is enough. No. It's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
There's so much more.
It's so much stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, like making sure your dishwasher guy is happy. Right? Else you'll leave.
Yes, or else you get no
dirty
dishes.
plates. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, how did you get from there to Toast Me?
So I had that restaurant for about 2 years, and then COVID happened. But while I was running that restaurant, I learned a lot about what not to do. So I always had this vision, like, okay, if I could redo this, what would I change? What would I do? And that's kind of like when I started thinking about the idea for Toast Me. I was thinking, okay, what type of food is easy to do that you can kind of like make in front of people? What type of food doesn't require like a chef to, because restaurants rely a lot on their cooks or their chefs. What happens if they don't show up, So then all of those kind of like questions I was asking myself, and the hours too. Running a restaurant, you're there like 11, 12 hours a day. I wanted something that's like shorter hours so that I can have a life outside of work. So when I was running that restaurant, I was constantly thinking about that. And then COVID happened. This is when I kind of like was looking at locations for Toast Me already. I was going to run both at the same time.
The restaurant.
Good thing I didn't have to because COVID happened. So I was like, okay, all the restaurants are shut down.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where this restaurant's going to go.
Right.
I don't know how long we're going to be closed for. So then I decided to sell it. And luckily I was able to sell it before I opened Toast Me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what makes Toast Me completely different from this one? You say it's smaller, right?
A lot smaller. Yeah, you don't need a big space. It's grab and go. You don't have food waste because people ask for what they want in the food versus, you just giving them what they don't want, right? It's quick. That's why it worked out so well during COVID is because people weren't allowed to eat in, to dine in. So it was like grab and go. We make it super easy and fast for people. They can order online and then they can come pick up within 10 minutes. So the whole model is different,
And during COVID, you potentially could have been one of the few restaurants that was still kind of running on a model that's perfect for you. Which is
I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that COVID worked out in my favor at the time.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember you starting your restaurant during COVID. Because I remember there's some other restaurants too. A lot of it, I was surprised that you were able to do a very successful restaurant during COVID because a lot of things were closed, and not a lot of people were going out getting food and because of restrictions.
It's like perfect.
Yeah, I just know that at the time, like I sign a lease. I have to make payments every month, so I have to open my doors.
So can I ask, how long was the time between when you signed the lease and then when you had your first customer?
I want to say, so the plan was 3 months. We had 3 months for renovation. And then that was kind of like the beginning of COVID.
Right.
So we couldn't finish renovation because people weren't allowed to work. So it got pushed back to like July. So I want to say like about 6 months.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot of time to sit and wait.
You still have to, of course, you have to make your payments still.
Yeah.
When you first opened, it was in Proctor, right?
Yeah, Proctor.
How did you pick that area?
I think I got pretty lucky with that location. And this is why it's so important who you know too, because I was talking to a friend and then that friend happens to know a contractor. So I was like, okay, I need a contractor. And then that contractor is like, I know the perfect location. This is when I didn't even have a location, but I know I have to put a team together. So he kind of told me about the location. I drove down there. I was like, okay, this is perfect for what I want to do. Like the size is just perfect. There's a lot of foot traffic. And it took me a few months to even sign the lease because, the people who own that building, like they're so busy. They don't care about like, if they don't know who you are, they're not going to sign a lease with you. So I had to like hunt them down. Like I went to their office without like an appointment. I was like, hey, I want to get into this spot. Who do I talk to? I remember sitting there waiting for like 30 minutes because the guy was like in a meeting. So eventually I was able to speak with him and then he's like, okay, I'll sign you a lease. I was like, okay.
And again, this goes back to Nikki and like true entrepreneurs. Like little things will happen all the time that will make you seem like, come on, man, mad. And you just got to push through it.
Yeah.
Because when you're working with people, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So
how did you come up with the name Toast Me? I was curious about that. Because
Yeah, there were a few other names.
Yeah.
Toast. Well, me it's for banh mi, and then toast is like you always want like a nice toasty, crunchy banh mi. So that's what the name
can you
is.
tell us some of the other names that you had ideas for?
I don't know if this is appropriate. Bang me. Bang me.
Okay.
So, I was like, okay, this is a pretty funny and catchy name. But then, Proctor, there's like different demographics, different ages.
Yeah.
So I had to go with something that's more appropriate.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, good choice. I can't imagine you
Yeah.
eating bang me.
That's a good one. No.
We can't have you on this show.
Seriously.
That's good. And then, so you went from one store there. How did you go from one store to your second store?
So it was always like a vision of mine to have multiple store. That's why like everything that we put together, like there's a lot of thought behind it. So hopefully in the future we can have like a Toast Me franchise that can grow outside of this state. But after we felt like, okay, this first store is stable enough where I don't have to be there every single day and I can have like a manager run the store for me, then, I can have time to put into building another store. Yeah. And then that's, the second store, same story. Like once it's stable enough, then I move on to the next one.
So
that's where most restaurants fail, I feel like, because if the owner can't get to the point where they can transition to like a business owner, like they're still in the restaurant working all the time, tired, and they don't have any extra energy or time to do the leadership part of it.
Yeah.
And they can't move forward.
That was me with my first restaurant. I was always there. So like I said, I learned a lot from that. And the Toast Me business model, like, is set up in a way that anyone can do the job, pretty much. Yeah.
So when you were scouting out your other locations, did you use an agent or did you have to like literally drive out there and somewhere?
I did everything myself.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I drove everywhere. I would like sit in my car at different hours of the day, different days, just to see the traffic there, what type of people go there. Like the agents will only do so much, and it really, it's up to you how much work you want to put into it. Yeah.
So before we get into like your daily life as a business owner of these 4 restaurants, I'm just curious, if people want to open a Toast Me, is that possible? And number 2, what kind of person, what kind of owner are you looking for? What kind of people are you looking for to open up Toast Me with you?
You have to have the right mindset, the right personality. You have to be willing to do everything yourself, at least learn to do everything. Eventually, you get to a point where you don't have to do it, but you have to know all of the answers so that when problems come up, you know what to do. That person would need to enjoy solving problems, because I feel like that's most of my day now. Is like I get phone calls like, oh, this is broken. What do I do? You kind of have to know all the ins and outs. Like just don't be lazy. That kind of mindset. Like you got to put your heart and soul into it. Having management experience is a plus too. But it's not cheap to build a store, though. I'll put that out there, so just want to be real.
Can you give us like maybe a general range of like how much you spent on the capital initially?
Yeah, I mean, things have gotten a lot more expensive over the years, right? So I'll tell you this. When I opened the first Toast Me in 2020, it was under $100K for me to make that happen.
That's even like the rental, the
renovation and stuff, because it was already an existing restaurant. So we just kind of need to change a few things to make it how we want it to look. But when you build from scratch, which is what I did with my newest store, it's going to range between $250K to $300K.
Wow. Because of the inflation cost now.
Yeah, and when you have to build out everything, like with the new regulations, like grease trap and the hood and all of that, it gets so expensive.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I remember my wife would ask me, it's like, you should quit being a pharmacist, being a Toast Me, open a Toast Me. And I'm like, I see how hard Nikki is working, and it is a full-time job.
It is,
I love being an entrepreneur, but that is a full-time job that people think, I'll open a restaurant and it will be
And I don't have to do anything.
I'll
Like,
be the boss.
Yeah.
And I'll come in and all the employees will serve me and give me food and everything. And all my friends will come and eat and we'll be amazing. It's not.
It's not like that.
It's such hard work.
Yeah.
Right? But if they want to be interviewed by you for it, they can just go to the website, I assume. And
Yeah, we have a form. You fill out the form first because, like I don't want to waste their time and waste my time. So if the answers on the form is not what I'm looking for, then I'll let them know, like, maybe now is not a good time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So now you're a big business owner.
Not big. I'm a small business owner.
Small business owner, but to us normal people, you seem like a big business owner. So what's your daily life like right now?
Right now, I mean, technically, I don't need to be at the store at all. But I do still come in. I feel like the employees like to see me there. So I'll come in maybe once or twice a week to check in on everything. I have 2 kids now, so they're my priority. One is in school, so a lot of my time is taking her to school, picking her up, and like activities outside of school. But I still do a lot of things myself. Like I do the scheduling myself. I do payroll myself. Checking in with the employees too. And then like inventory, ordering things. I do all of that myself too.
So I take it, do you use any like software to help automate some of the stuff for you?
Yeah. So payroll, I use Gusto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And when you say you visit the store, you mean all 4 of them, right? Like
No.
around,
So this is why it's so important for you to build a good team and people you can trust. So I have someone running the Seattle location where I don't have to be there at all, but I still check in on like inventory and things like that. The Federal Way location is a franchise store, so I don't need to worry about that. But I do provide them with like the ingredients and all of that and support if they need it. So really, I'm just mainly in Tacoma and Lacey. Yeah.
So I don't want to get too deep into this, but like for your franchise one, do you, when you say you supply the ingredients and stuff, do you make it at one location, ship it down to the other one, or?
Yeah, we have a facility that supplies to every single store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's why the model is really easy, I assume, to start opening other stores.
Franchise.
Because once you have that facility, it makes it a lot easier. So
I mean, the facility that's not included, like it's not the same as like one of the locations, right?
Yeah. It's a separate company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's the dream, but that's the ending dream.
That's not how it started.
Right.
Like I, barely got any sleep when we first opened. I was there 7 days a week, making sure everything is run smoothly. Like building a strong team requires you to be able to train them, right? So you kind of have to know everything and do like proper training so that you can take a step back and trust that they can run the store when you're not there.
I remember for a time, I don't know if your husband worked with you for a while, right?
Yes.
Does he still do?
Yeah. So he actually, when I opened the first store, he still had his other job. And then when we started expanding, he left his job so that he could help me.
Nice.
So now he's running the Lacey location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you think you'll be able to do all of this when you have 2 kids, like opening a store for the first time if you had 2 kids?
No. So, you can't have everything, right? So you have to prioritize what's important at that moment. So I believe like when you're in your 20s, you dedicate your time to building your career, to learning more about yourself. And then when you're in your 30s, if you have a family with kids, you gotta prioritize that when they're younger. And then when they're older, maybe you can go back into building your career. So you kind of have to know what's important. Yeah.
And I feel like people my age always run into this issue where they have this career and then they have kids, but they want to do something crazy, right? And me especially, right? I want to go hardcore real estate, renovation, that kind of stuff. And it's really difficult to stand back and say, like Nikki said, you can't have both. You can't do this crazy thing because then you have no time for your kids. And the thing is, all of these autobiographies about these famous billionaires, they always regret that they did not spend more time with their kids because that's something you can't ever.
Take that back.
Yeah.
And so Nikki has found something to me that's very profound. It's very helpful to me to understand that too, that this even though sometimes watching kids is like, oh my gosh, I don't want to watch my kids anymore, my kids especially. It's like these are the moments that will never come back.
Yeah.
And even though you keep wanting to do these other things, you're going to regret it when you're 80 that you didn't do it.
Yeah.
So very profound. And I know that most of our listeners are like in their 20s and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they truly need to understand like that Nikki is saying. If you want to do something, do it now.
Yeah, do it now.
Do it now.
The younger, the better. Yeah, you have less to lose.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So that's something that you would recommend to, if someone wants to open, let's just say they're in their 20s at Wing Chun, they're like, oh, I want a franchise at Toast Me right now. I want to go on podcasts and give people free drinks, right? Like, what would you say to them?
Work at a Toast Me first and see if you like it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like for any type of business, you know, you're gonna see if that's something you enjoy doing, right? And the one way to know is to work there. And then, you know, learn from your boss, listen, you know, and after that, you're like, okay, do I want to do what they're doing or do I not? I think that moment is so crucial because once you start on that journey, I say, you know, you put your everything in, like don't half-ass it, you know.
And I assume if I was working for you as a Wing Chun, I'm like, hey, Nikki, can you tell me like a little bit about your daily life? Oh, hey, boss, tell me about your daily life. Do you recommend, is this a life that you recommend? Like I assume you'd be very frank and honest at that point. You know, because we have a relationship.
Well, I mean, but her day life now versus back then when she first started is a little different too.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there are days, even today, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I wasn't doing this. I wish I was doing something else, like a 9 to 5. I wish I had people telling me what to do because a lot of times I'm the one that has to make the decision. I was like, I don't want to think, you know, so. But for the most part, I'm very grateful for what I have now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, like if there's something you want badly enough, you're going to make it happen. So a lot of people come to me and like, oh, I want to do this, but X, Y, Z. I'm like, then you don't want it bad enough. You know, that's it. So
I mean, you mentioned earlier that you did do a corporate world while you were in California, right? How was that a lot different than what you do now, I guess?
Yeah, it was very different. So I am a perfectionist. Like I will always try my best, whatever that job is. But I felt like my best wasn't enough. Like I was making money for other people. So I had like different clients, right? And my job was to run ads for them, making sure that it meets, you know, their expectation. And I would get bonuses if I do that. And I got bonuses, but then at the end of the day, I didn't feel like my life is fulfilled. Like I don't mind working hard, but I don't want to work hard for someone else.
Makes sense. Yep.
And where do you see the future of Thiếu Nhi in like 5 not Thiếu Nhi, right? Because we're
continue to grow. Be great.
What do you think? It's your business.
I know. I've been in Thiếu Nhi for years.
Of Toast Me. They're very similar to each other. I normally don't get this much of a drink. Like I normally, try to drink like water. Okay, so to me, this
Kian
is a
is very
treat.
healthy. It bugs me that he's so healthy.
So healthy. Oh my god.
But where do you see the future of Toast Me in 5 years?
I mean, I would like to continue to expand. Right now, I'm just kind of like slowing it down a little bit because I have younger kids.
Sure.
But eventually, I do want to grow, hopefully out of state. I do have a few people that have asked, but it's not the right time right now. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Fantastic. Do you have any further questions for our guests?
Actually, don't know.
Yeah. Well, I do some fun questions. What's your
Okay.
favorite thing to eat at Toast Me?
Ooh, yeah.
Everything?
That was a trick question,
No,
right?
I do like the Imperial City. It comes with 2 different types of meat and an egg, so I feel like you get everything in there.
Oh, okay.
It's a great value.
Why is it named Imperial City? Like, what's
Actually, all their names are really unique.
Yes.
How did that come about?
That's something I'm super proud of. I'm so glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
So when I came up with the menu for Toast Me, I didn't want it to just be like a number, right? Number 1, number 2, whatever, or like pork, chicken. I wanted to have kind of like a history of Vietnam because a lot of my customers or in the area don't know what banh mi is or have never been to Vietnam. So I incorporated all the names of the cities I've been to when I was traveling into the menu. So we have like the Mekong, the Notre Dame, the Sapa, which is like one of my favorite places that I've been to. So lots of different names of Vietnam City.
I think my favorite was the one with the chicken.
That's Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Yeah. I love that one.
My favorite is when I try to come in and say, "Oh, I know her. Can I have some free food?"
He does that. He'll be like, "Do I have the family discount?"
No, that's funny. Going full circle here. So one of my fiance's brother's girlfriend,
Not this again.
sibling, worked for you too. It's like,
Yeah,
I know
heard.
she's decided to see this podcast.
Say that
actually.
one more time.
Oh, she knows.
If any viewer can comment and say what that really means, we'll
That
we'll give them
relationship.
a,
Yeah.
that relationship,
we'll give them a. I will give you a $20 gift to toast me. Okay, so say that one more time.
So my fiance's brother's girlfriend's sibling.
Yeah. Every time you say it, I have
Works at Toast Me.
Yes, works at Toast Me, yes.
So who is that?
Yeah. So one final thing is, this is a rant for myself. I know Lacey, I was going to ask you what's your favorite drink, but I'm going to jump in, right? But at Lacey has like amazing coffee selection that I do not see at Tacoma yet. So I'm begging you, please bring it to Tacoma.
We're right next to Starbucks. That's why.
That's why.
Okay, you can compete with them. I'm just very mad because it's probably my favorite Vietnamese coffee. It's very strong. I'm telling you,
I gotta check it out then.
very strong Vietnamese coffee. But you use the same coffee for Tacoma too, right?
Yeah, it's just in Tacoma we only have one type of coffee, which is the Vietnamese coffee.
Yeah.
In Lacey we have a more extended coffee menu, so different
Egg coffee.
flavors. Yeah.
Egg coffee is so
Nice.
good,
Yeah.
and you can tell it's real Vietnamese coffee. So, well, I don't want to keep ranting on about my own angers about Toast Me, but we can end it here. But do you have anything you want to say to our guests or not guests, but our audience or anything?
I guess when it comes to like if you want to do anything in life, start a business, whatever it is, right? What's worse than failure is regret. So just that's what I live by.
That's a good.
Nice.
That's a good.
That's
sentiment.
great.
Well,
And regret I didn't have another one of
I
those.
know. I'm actually surprised. I drank most of this. It's very good.
That makes me happy.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
drink
you.
yours when you